Starvation still grips Gaza under Israel's siege, where the UN warns a famine is unfolding before our eyes. We take a moment to consider the heritage under threat. Traditional Palestinian food has long been a source of identity and memory for the diaspora. Sami Tamimi is an award-winning chef who was raised in the old city of Jerusalem and uses cooking to tell the story of Palestine. He joins Michelle Martin to discuss his new cookbook, Bustani, and the cultural resilience of his homeland.
Thanks, Biana. Sami Tamimi, thank you so much for talking with us once again.
Thank you very much for having me.
Your new book is Bustani. What does it mean?
In Arabic, it means my garden. It's related to the whole narrative of the book where, I talk about my grandfather's garden in Hebron, where we used to spend quite a lot of time there, especially in the summer. And I talk about it because it connects to a lot of things. I always kind of reminisce on food and memories, and this is what really kind of connects me to Palestine, my family, the heritage, the food as well. It's very, very kind of strong element in our kind of culture, but also the family. And my father just loved his little bustan, or the little garden, piece of land that he had, and he grew so many things, vegetables and fruit, and you name it.
Is that why the book focuses on vegetables?
It does in a way,
yeah.
But also I think I started cooking some of the dishes at lockdown when COVID was on, and I was in Italy. We have a little place in Italy, and the climate is very similar to Palestine. Oh. So just to go back to connect, I was homesick. I wanted to be with the family, my siblings, and eat with them and just kind of feel a little bit more connected. So I started going out and foraging for things.
You have such strong memories of flavor and smells, even now. Do you think, is this because you're a chef, or is this because you're a human?
Both, but I think also, I grew up in a food obsessed kind of surrounding, I remember vividly sitting down to have breakfast, and they already talk about lunch and dinner and what's in the season, what they're going to cook tomorrow. Which auntie is coming, so what dish are they gonna do? So it all kind of stays with me. But also I remember it's also, anybody who kind of immigrates to a different country and different culture, to stay connected, you tend to kind of dwell on the flavors that you kind of grew up on. And as a chef, of course, I borrowed from my mom's kitchen and the Palestinian kitchen all of my career. And the last 20 years been cooking a lot of Palestinian, which also, I find it really important that I want to do that to promote the Palestinian culture and the food, but also because it's the kitchen that I understand 100%. And I feel total kind of comfort and comfortable with it.
You became famous as part of the team at Ottolenghi in London, which is something that, it's kind of its own story as a cultural touchstone, as a place of amazing food. I wondered if, I was thinking about African-American food, or the food that we call like soul food, in America. A lot of us grew up eating it, and we thought of it as home food. We didn't think of it as restaurant food. We didn't think of it as cuisine. And I wondered, when you were cooking in, these restaurants, you were a head chef, you're in, major cities around the world, doing your thing. I wondered, did you think of Palestinian food in that way? It's like, this is for home, whereas this is for work, as different from work.
Yeah, there are quite a lot of dishes that you only eat at home because although they are made with love, but they take a lot of time and care, and sometimes they are not suitable for a restaurant serving. And I kind of, from an early kind of age, I was really loyal to the traditional Palestinian. I wanted to eat it, and I wanted to cook it at home, but I didn't want to serve it in a restaurant because I wanted to do a mixture of something else to use all the elements, being loyal to the dishes, but not ruin them. And we just add in kind of different layers and textures and flavoring to present it in a kind of restaurant kind of way. We didn't do that so much at Lengi. It's more the cookbooks that kind of started like that.
It just seemed like for years, some of these dishes are familiar, but it's sort of been served under the rubric of Mediterranean, right?
Yeah.
Like
Which
big part of the
hate.
world, big region,
Yeah.
Middle Eastern. And I wonder, do you think that people are starting to see Palestinian food as part of the culture of these people in this place?
Yeah, and thanks to a lot of chefs and authors and people like me who have been writing about it, and also because people no longer want to just kind of when you present them with a cookbook that kind of Middle Eastern, it's like where in the Middle East? It's a huge part of the world, or Mediterranean run from Europe to the Middle East to the Gulf to it's kind of half of the world you can kind of put under the umbrella of Mediterranean. And I personally don't like this kind of these kind of cookbooks because they don't offer you anything that kind of original in a way. They don't focus on one place, but also people really want to kind of focus on where it is from, and also the history of it, the background, the tradition. Um, People ask me to the day what kind of tahini I use or what the kind of sumac. Can you give us a brand, where it comes from? It's really, really important for people. And also, Palestinian, because of what's happening now for so many years, never had the credit for people been borrowing Palestinian dishes, putting them out there, and not giving them the credit. But also, as a Palestinian, I think people were in such a shock of what happened that food was kind of part of their preservation, but they didn't think that they needed to protect it and put it out there. And I see that in writing. I mean, this is what I write about Palestinian cooking at the moment because I see it as documenting, first of all, but also showing that these dishes didn't just kind of happen. They have their own history, their stories, they're waving with the whole culture, the connection to the land, to the farming, to the surrounding, which, really, really important in the whole kind of.
But of course, the whole question of his history, story, culture, narrative,
Yeah.
what is true and what belongs to whom is so very fraught in this part of the world. It's so very challenging and so very emotional. And I remember, honestly, I'll tell you, I remember we talked about your previous cookbook, Palestine, and I remember getting this angry email from somebody who said, because we were talking about Palestine and Palestinian cookery, that I was negating the existence of Israel. And I was like, can you even talk about history and talk about a place without wading into the politics of it?
I mean, you can't. Everything that you touch in the region turned into politics, but you can't also not talk about it because they are facts. It's not something that I make up and just write in a book, and it's not my narrative as well. And also, I don't talk for the Palestinian. I am one Palestinian man that see the narrative as it is. I don't make my own narrative to sell a cookbook. They are facts. It's history. It's been written. I just go back and search for it, and I have the authority to write a cookbook and write what's the background, the history, and you don't have to try hard to dig into the facts.
Well, I would also say, though, that this book is very personal. It's infused with your memories.
Yes.
Your memories of experiences, your memories of relationships, your memories of flavors, your memories of how it made you feel. And it reminded me of so many people that I know who live apart from the place of their birth and also the place of their memory, and how the food brings them back to it.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. When you say Palestine or Palestinian, you get bombarded by lots of kind of negative. And I want to show how people live in modern time Palestine, and talking to all these really inspiring people. They're all kind of related to food and the way they live their life, and it's really really inspiring because I mean I remember a couple of them saying, we don't want to sit and cry about what happened. We want to kind of help ourselves, the family, our community, our country. And this kind of really, really kind of important to show to people because through cookbooks and through, we are connected really strongly. We all understand that the language of cooking and eating and sharing food and celebrating that. And through Palestine and now Bustani, I wanted to show another side of the Palestinian, which is not just people being starved and being killed and bombarded. And it's kind of, there's quite a lot of my own memories, but also they are related to people that I know. They are related to my family, me growing up in Palestine. And this is something that over generation now that they come, it's gonna get lost, and it's important to write them for next generations.
Okay, so now let's talk about some of the recipes. So, well, let us talk about some of your favorites, if I can put you on the spot. And I also want to know which ones that I can easily make without having to be a trained chef.
You can do the couscous fritters. I already published a similar recipe, not really similar, but based on the same dish that my mom used to make for us as kids. And it's total comfort. It's just warm couscous with tomato and onion. And it brings so much joy and comfort. And I wanted to bring them back because I think people really want you to try them. They're really beautifully, it brings you also comfort, but also wanted to bring them back in a different way. So I decided to add peppers into them and a lot more heat and shape them in a kind of patties and serve them with a really punchy preserved lemon, dill, and capers yogurt. And they are a hit. And people really love them, but also kids love them.
What about the soups? I mean, I noticed that you said that whenever you're feeling sad or feeling a little unsettled, that you want a soup. I am the same way. What about a soup?
I prefer not super hot, like a temperature hot soup, but frike soup, for example, with vegetables, which is a very, very simple soup. Always it's very soothing and
okay, frika and vegetable soup. Now,
yeah.
Can we get all these ingredients here? I mean, you were saying you were foraging. I don't particularly think I'm going to go foraging in my neighborhood in Washington, D.C. I got to be really honest.
You don't need to forage. I like to talk about it because I think it's important. When people really disconnected from seasonal ingredients and also from what grows around. But, I'm not asking people to go out and forage if they can. That would be amazing. But the book doesn't use any kind of unusual things that you can't really get in the shops. And most of these ingredients are kind of available now wherever you are and also online.
It's an unsettled time. I mean, it's a very difficult doesn't even capture it. I mean, the words I'm using are just not adequate to describe the suffering that many people are experiencing.
I am sad. I am very sad about what's happening in Gaza and Palestine. But I am a hopeful person. I am positive, and I let my work talk for itself. I am eager. I'm almost like on a mission now to promote as much of the Palestinian food and culture, and this keeps me sane. And keeps me thriving and going forward.
You said you wrote, once again, I wanted to focus on Palestinian food, not just because of where I come from. I believe that Palestinian food, tradition, and culture have a lot to offer the world. They are a great testimony to resilience and a way of preserving food culture by passing it down through generations. You write, the responsibility of writing these recipes and stories has weighed heavily on my shoulders. And you say, I hope and wish that many of you try the recipes, read the stories, and want to know more about Palestine, the place, its people, its culture, and its food, this wonderful place I call home. Is there a time when you think you'll be able to go home and feel at home?
Not as it is now. For me, going back, I mean, I get it. I don't want to kind of turn it into this kind of political thing, but for me, going back home, it means that I'm treated like a second-class citizen. I am the known person in my own country, and I still get treated badly. I couldn't be as successful if I stayed back home, which is really sad to think about it in a way.
It is, but the book itself is not sad. You talked about the responsibility weighing heavily on you.
Of course.
But like you said, you also don't want to overshadow the pride and the joy. And so how do you want us to think about it now that you've gifted us with this? What would you like us as readers and as cooks to draw from this work?
To cook the food, to really kind of, this connects you also to the whole narrative of the book, but also to the place and to the people. To cook the food and also read the stories and wanting to know more, and hopefully, people want to kind of read a lot more about what happened. And it's not just black and white like we see it nowadays. It's more, there's a lot more to it than it is. But also cooking and writing about food, it's a good tool for people to dive deeper into a culture, into people, and also to try to understand what happened. I'm hoping, just for people to cook from it. And, it is deliberately lighter weight than Palestine because I wanted to, because it's me and because I'm talking about myself and my memories, there's quite a lot of positive in it. And it's something that really important for people to kind of also read it and see it. I cook when I'm happy, and I cook better when I'm happy.
Sami Tamimi, thank you so much for speaking with us once again.
Thank you very much.